Ladies and gentlemen, a new snapshot for Minecraft Java Edition 1.17, the Caves and Cliffs update has been released. Here is 21w07a, coming to you with a brand new type of stone, tweaked world generation, and completely new ore distribution. My name is slicedlime, I'm here to take you through all the changes in this version. And let's start with blocks and items and that new stone type. It is called Grimstone. It is a stone type found in the deepest part of the underground underneath of y=0. It is slightly tougher to mine than normal stone. Notably, Grimstone cannot be insta-mined even with efficiency 5 and a fully upgraded beacon. Like Blackstone, Grimstone can be used to craft the basic stone tools, furnaces, and brewing stands. There are a number of varieties of Grimstone. There's Grimstone, Polished Grimstone, Grimstone Bricks, and Grimstone Tiles. All of those versions can also be crafted into slabs, stairs, and walls. In addition to this, there's also a Chiseled Grimstone. Note that currently the recipes for making Grimstone tiles are missing. Let's move on and talk about world generation. Of course, Grimstone now generates and mostly replaces stone at low elevation levels. This starts happening at y=0 and then gradually increases in intensity until y=8, where Grimstone takes over fully. The new caves introduced in the previous snapshots have also been tweaked. The huge versions of those caves will now be more rare, and the chance that caves are filled with water is decreased. That means that in this snapshot, caves are more rare, especially at lower elevations underneath y=0. More development to come on this later. This version also sees a complete revamp of the ore distribution in the world. In order to understand exactly how this works, you need to understand the two different styles of distribution used. This affects how the randomness of the ores are spread in the world. There are two types of distribution used. One is a uniform distribution. This is what was used for most of the ore types before, meaning that within the span of where you can find an ore, it is equally likely to find that ore at any height. The other distribution is called a symmetric triangular distribution. In mathematical term, that is when you have the most likely occurrence to be at the center of the range and then the likelihood falls linearly towards the edge. That means if you're at the center of the range, then you will be the most likely to find it. If you're halfway to the edge of the range, you'll be half as likely to find it there, and so on. This type of distribution used to be used for ancient debris and for lapis lazuli, but it is now used for many more. Let's go through all of the different types of ores in roughly their order of placement in the Minecraft progression, starting with coal. Coal is now spread in two places. It is spread in a triangular distribution between y=0 and y=192. That makes it the most common at y=96. Coal can also be found in a uniform distribution high up in the world between y=136 and the top of the world, if you have any world generation there. Copper can now be found in a triangular distribution between y=0 and y=96. That makes it the most common at y=48. Iron is now spread in a triangular distribution between -16 and +80. That makes it the most common at y=32. There's also a second spread of iron that is also a triangular distribution between 128 and 384, which is above the top of the world. However, that still makes it the most common at 256, should you happen to have some world generating there. Gold ore is now found in a triangular distribution between -64 and +32, making it the most common at y=16. The extra gold that you can find in Badlands still generates just like it used to, and the nether gold ore has been untouched as well. Emerald has changed, it now generates higher up in mountains in a triangular distribution between 32 and 480. That is also above the top of the world, but that makes it the most common at level 256. Lapis ore can now be found in two sections. One is spread in a triangular distribution between -32 and +32, making it the most common at 0. You can also find lapis in a uniform distribution between the bottom of the world and level 64. But there's a change here. It is now also always buried, just like ancient debris is in the nether. Redstone ore can now be found uniformly distributed between the bottom of the world and level 15. But more redstone can also be found lower down in a triangular distribution between -96 and -32. That is beyond the bottom of the world, but that also means that it is the most likely to occur at the bottom of the world. And finally, the big one, the classic diamonds, can now be found in a triangular distribution between the bottom of the world and level +16. That is also set up in such a way that diamonds become more plentiful the deeper you go. In addition to this, the generation of these splotches of diorite, andesite and granite that you will find has been tweaked. There will be fewer of those, but they will be individually larger now. And a change for the lower elevations. Diorite, granite and dirt no longer generate below y=0. A change has also been done to the very bottom of the world where bedrock could sometimes be exposed. The density of stone is now higher at the bottom of the world, which means you're much less likely to find exposed bedrock. In the case of structures, strongholds are now mostly encased in stone. That is, you're much less likely to find a stronghold with a large section sticking out hanging in mid-air. And mineshaft corridors were changed in the previous version to be supported by log pillars. Now in this version they are supported by log pillars below or by chains holding them up, depending on which one is most suitable for the location of the corridor. Each chain is connected to the mineshaft with a piece of fence. The pillars have also been changed from wood blocks, that is the bark blocks with the bark texture on all sides, to logs. Some fixes to some features as well. Vines will now randomly generate in jungles again. Seagrass doesn't replace parts of a swamp hut anymore. And if you have a world with the dripstone caves biome, then the large dripstone will now properly generate as stalactites even below y=0. Changes in gameplay for this version. A number of fixes have been done to the player's sleeping percentage game rule. If you have that set, then the amount of players who need to sleep to skip the night is now displayed correctly, and you no longer skip the night immediately if you go to bed with the game rule set to 0. A bug has been fixed with powder snow buckets in a dispenser pointing out of the buildable world area, that is, at y=319 facing upwards, or at y=-64 facing downwards. When activated, that would replace the contents with an empty bucket, despite the snow not being dispensed. Visual fixes in this version. The ores without a unique shape have been given new textures. This means that you can now tell them apart by their shape alone. You do not need to see the colors, which is great for accessibility. The one, the only, the most iconic one, diamond ore, is the same as it was before. In a future snapshot there will also be additional versions of ores specifically for Grimstone. New textures also for Blackstone, polished Blackstone bricks, and cracked polished Blackstone bricks, as well as a bug fix for beacon beams that would stop rendering if you're more than 256 blocks away from the source. Let's move on to user interface fixes in this version. The redstone tab has been reordered completely. This is to prioritize the highly used blocks and items first. That means the ordering is now first the essentials, second unique activators, third some miscellaneous blocks like TNT, then all the common activators like buttons and pressure plates, and finally blocks that can be opened by redstone like doors and fence gates. Another fix has been done for the user interface, where if you have the chat disabled, the error message is now much clearer as to why you cannot open the chat. In addition to this, stability and performance fixes, including crash fixes. Despite that, this is still a very early version of the Caves and Cliffs update. Like in the previous snapshot 21w06a, this snapshot will also refuse to load any world that was generated before that snapshot. Any world from before 21w06a will not load in this version. However, worlds from 21w06a will upgrade to this version. Now, if you want to try this version out but you don't know how to, then click on the link in the iCard on the video right now or in the video description. That'll take you to a tutorial video about how to get and play a Minecraft snapshot. And that was all I had for you this time. If you're interested in the technical changes, things that will impact map makers, data packs, resource packs, custom world generation and commands, then I have a video coming for that and I'll add a link in an iCard here when it is ready. But that was all I had for you for this video. I hope you found it useful, and if you did, please help me out in return. Leave a like, share it with your friends, and why not post a comment down in the comment section below. If you want to stay on top of all the changes from Minecraft Java Edition, then please subscribe to this channel. I make update videos for every new snapshot, pre-release, release candidate, or full release. And don't forget to hit that pesky little bell icon so you get notified properly when the new videos are out. My name is slicedlime, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.